So interesting. These cards are like kind of connected. They just literally came out at the same time together, which never happens. Oh my gosh. Okay, I just love this. Little disclaimer here before we start the reading video, and if you've seen one of my reading videos before and you've already seen this message, you can go ahead and skip to this timestamp when the actual reading starts. But if this is your first time here, I really want you to hear this before we get started. What I discuss in this video is not intended to attempt in any way to predict your future or force any suggestions on you on what actions to take in your life. My sole intention with this video is to simply share with you the most relevant and useful personal growth insights that I can come up in the moment based off of my own life experience, training as a coach, and my intuition, prompted by whatever cards come out while I'm shuffling. Part of why I make these videos is to inspire and encourage viewers to tap into their own intuition. I always advise you to use your own discretion when watching these videos. And remember to always consult with your own sense of what you feel is right for you, and your own intuition to decipher what resonates with you, what suggestions or advice you would like to adopt, and which does not feel right for you. And just as a reminder, as a general rule, your intuition is the voice inside of you that is nudging you towards what is most optimal for you, in the way towards your greatest expansion. If you feel that you have a voice in your mind or an urge or an inclination in your body that tells you to do something that would harm yourself or others, that is not your intuition. And even though I am not a mental health professional myself, I would strongly urge you in this case to seek out professional support, if this is your experience. Your intuition and your higher self would never suggest you to do anything that would be harmful to anyone, including yourself. Our higher selves will push us out of our comfort zones in the pursuit of expansion, but it will never urge you to do anything drastic, sudden, or harmful. Your intuition will never feel like a manipulation or a coercion. It will feel like a gentle and loving whisper, guiding you towards what you know on a deep level is the way forward, through your fears and pursuing your dreams for your highest good. For those of you who are trying to develop your intuition, I want to also mention that I do not edit these videos or cut these clips at all. I purposefully want you to see the whole process from start to finish, and what it looks like to actually be pausing and listening to guidance, and how long it can sometimes take to decipher what spirit, the universe, your higher self, etc. is trying to share with you. So as always, take what resonates and leave the rest. Okay, let's see what this reading is about, shall we? Funny thing is, you already know what this is about because you saw the title, but I don't know what it's about yet. But we're about to find out. So the first card that just flipped out here in the stack is Autumn, which is release old energy, let go of outcome, and go within. Put it over here because that's better lighting. Okay. Okay, so release old energy, let go of outcome, and go within. Ooh. Comfort zone. Comfort, familiar, take the first step, risk, effort, try something new. So immediately I'm feeling like that is about letting go of the outcome, like that from that connects to the last card, letting go of the outcome. Like it's not about the outcome. Ooh, so interesting. Oh my God, these cards are like kind of connected and they never come out. They just literally came out at the same time together, which never happens. Anyway, limits, reevaluate, take a step back, know your own limits, and replenish drained energy. And fence, which is stand up for yourself, communicate needs, and set clear boundaries. So these two are like so clearly go together. Interesting. Okay, so I'm kind of feeling like setting boundaries with yourself is what's coming up. So the overall message I'm feeling from these cards right now is like, go within, listen to your own inner guidance of what the direction you need to be going from here. Pursue that without being attached to the outcome. And trust yourself coming out of a comfort zone. Like you might have to be taking a step that might scare you a little bit, but that you know is the right way forward. And to reevaluate your limits, like where you're putting out your energy that doesn't feel like it's in alignment with whatever it is that you truly feel like you should be pursuing and what you should be putting your energy into. and replenish any drained energy that has gone out in those energy leaks of things that you don't want to be putting your energy into, and reevaluate your own limits, like where you're going to say, no, I'm not putting energy into that anymore. Like yeah, no. And those are your boundaries, like setting those boundaries, like where are your boundaries? Where are your limits, right? Like reflecting on that so you can realize where they are and then be able to communicate those things and sticking to them, like really honoring your own boundaries with yourself. Because obviously there's boundaries with other people, and that's hard enough in and of itself. But then we have boundaries with ourselves of like, we tell ourselves we're not going to engage in this activity, or we're not going to talk to this person, or we're not going to react when someone does something or whatever it is. It's like, and then we end up kind of falling into our old habits, or we don't keep our promises to ourselves, basically, is what's coming up. So yeah, stand up for yourself against your habits, essentially. And the other card that came out while I was talking was the Gathering card, which is event, meeting, discussion, social life, cultures, and tradition. Okay, I'm also feeling like, because the Limits card is the reevaluating card, which is what I was just talking about. Normally this to me feels like it's a social card, but I actually am getting more of like any traditions or cultures or policies, even, like however that resonates with you, that feel like they're outdated for you, like they're not as relevant to you anymore. You might want to reevaluate. Like, why am I doing things the way that I'm doing things? Is it because I feel like it's the right way to do it, or is it because I've been told that that's the right way to do it and that doesn't resonate with me anymore? Oh my gosh. Okay, I just love this. So the next cards that came out, there's two in my hand that flipped and one that's peeking out of the deck. So the two in my hand are the Open Space card, Blank Slate, Possibilities, Can See Far and Wide, and then the Compass card came out. One of my personal favorites, which is Intuition, Guidance, Follow Your True North, and Gut Feelings. So again, it's like this energy of breaking down old systems that you've been operating within that might not actually be something you would have chosen for yourself. And once you pivot away from those things, there's just empty, open possibilities for you. Like a completely clean slate in a really good way of like just endless possibilities. Like anything is possible once you let go of the previous constructs that you have kind of operated your life from that don't actually make sense for you or aren't the way that you want to be living your life. You know, like kind of reevaluating any outside influences and just trusting your inner guidance. Like really, really reevaluate those things and consult your own gut feelings and your own, like identify your own true north and go forward. Oh, I just shuffled into the deck the one that was poking out. Well, I guess if it's supposed to come out, it'll come out. But then, so interesting because the Horizon card just came out, and this is very much like a horizon line, like so much open space leading to this horizon line in the distance. And this is the card that just came out afterwards, which is the Horizon card: freedom, empowerment, infinite possibilities, and self-confidence. So that just speaks for itself, honestly. But I want to touch on the self-confidence part. That's like, you might be scared to leave your comfort zone of like these outdated beliefs and structures that you've been following your whole life. Like, even though you know that they're not right for you, they're familiar, right? You know how to operate within these constructs and these ways of being. So kind of stepping out of that into this completely open blank space where maybe there are no rules, right? Like in your mind, when you're reevaluating everything, you're like, well, what do I believe? You know, trusting your intuition and your gut and leaning into those things and going within. That actually, taking that trust in your own guidance and listening and taking steps from that place, even though it's terrifying to be like leaving your comfort zone, is actually what will bring you confidence. Like, it seems counterintuitive where you think that, well, you know, I'd rather stay where I feel comfortable, where I feel confident. But actually that's not really, kind of false confidence, because it's not coming from within in a way. Like you're staying stuck in a groove that you've walked a million times but isn't isn't resonating on a deeper level. Whereas if you were to step forward in your truth, in your power, that's when you gain deep confidence in yourself, right? Interesting. Very interesting. Lots of weird cards just came out. We're going to interpret them together, okay? So this one just flipped, and I giggled because it's the family patterns card. So footprint, following someone else's footsteps, family patterns. So maybe the things that you are kind of reevaluating and deconstructing are ways of operating or believing things about life and operating from those beliefs that stem from family, which is like, okay, that's every limiting belief, right? For the most part. I mean, sometimes teachers and like neighbors and peers give us limiting beliefs, but for the most part, it's like coming from your family system, right? Whoever you spent the most time with in childhood is usually going to have the biggest influence on you. So it's kind of like, so I just, as a fun side note, but the reason I'm mentioning this is because I think it's relevant. This is my own footprint that I made on a rock. Oh, by the way, all of these cards are my, like I made this deck. Every single image you see is an image I've taken somewhere in the world. And all of the text on each card is something I intuitively was guided to put on each card. So the story behind this card is that I took a step in the river and then put my foot on a rock and took this photo. And actually, none of these photos were taken. There might actually be like 1 or 2 photos that I took for the deck, but other than that, all of them came before this deck. Like I hadn't planned any of this. It just kind of like poured out of me one day. I felt really strongly that I had to make this deck, and then I spent like 3 weeks straight making it. But anyway, the reason I'm mentioning the footprint is because it feels like it's time to step out of family patterns and figure out what your true north is and the way that you want to step forward into this open space of your life going forward. I'm just going to move this text message out of the way. Okay, and then the 2 cards that kind of like came poking out of the deck. So it's the Buddha card, which is wisdom, peace, inner knowing, and intuition. So there you go. And then the one underneath it is the dead end card, which is very interesting to me, which is turn around, new path, not meant for you at this time. So maybe you have an inner knowing that if you continue down the path that you are on, like if you continue following these paradigms and like this manual that wasn't written for you, it's going to lead to a dead end. Like it's not going to get you where you want to go. It might even get you to a place where you just feel completely stuck, like you've hit a wall and there's no more progress you can make because it's not the path that's meant for you. And then I had 1 card flipped face down on the ground, but it's separated from the deck. Oh, that's right. So the future card, which is prediction, planting seeds, planning, and envisioning. Okay, so actually what I'm getting with this card is that some of you might be thinking, well, like I had this whole plan for my life. I can't just change it. I can't just abandon it. Like I think the fear of the unknown is coming out, where it's like, I don't have a plan then if I change my plans. Like if I completely pivot, there's no plan. It's just open. And so it's like 2 sides of the same coin that can be absolutely terrifying, or it can actually be very liberating, that there's infinite possibilities and you get to choose. Like you get to make it up. It can actually be really positive. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the moon card, which says release fear, which is what I was basically just saying, shed light on shadows. So there might be a shadow aspect of you that's trying to keep you down. That might be coming from fear of saying you can't do this if you go out on your own. Like we already know this path. We've been told that this is what works. Even though we know it's not right for us, we might as well just keep going because this is what we've already been doing, or it's too risky to change, or whatever. Like it's risky, right? If you go your own path. But at the same time, like why live your whole life without entertaining the path that your inner guidance wants you to follow? Like what would be the point of just following old constructs or following someone else's idea of what you should be doing with your life or whatever it is? You know, hold on, I got another text. Okay. Call in new energy and entertain new possibilities. So, yeah, if you're feeling the fear of the unknown, instead of going in the what if in the bad place, instead of going to the what if in the negative, I should say, start entertaining new possibilities in the positive. Like if you completely break down all of these structures that weren't working for you anyway and just charge forward with your own, you don't have to charge forward, you can do this in small steps, but like just the energy I'm getting is like, just if you just stand in your power and start moving forward in your own direction, it can be really scary. But if you entertain new possibilities, like there could be so many wonderful things that could come out of it. Like start seeing the what if in the positive. Like how many new amazing things could be available to you once you make this shift. That feels like I'm not sure if there's more. Oh, maybe there is more. Okay. So if you're feeling fearful about this open space and these new possibilities, even though it might be exciting, even though it might feel liberating, it might still feel terrifying that it's completely unknown, bird's eye view. Big picture perspective, neutral observer, objective and uninvolved. So what I'm getting is zoom out. Look at things from a whole. Like look at the trajectory and the path you've taken in your life from this point. Like if you picture looking at a map, or you're in a plane high enough where you can like look down and see the terrain below you. If you picture their metaphorical path that you've walked through your life, and maybe you can see that you come to this like crossroads where it's like you continue down the same path or you take a new path that's like not worn down to the path. Like it's just like you gotta navigate some weird stuff. Maybe it's like just straight right through the woods and left is like a nice carved path. That like if you were able to zoom out and look and see that that nice carved path leads to a dead end, right? And that like the one that has not been beaten down, I mean beaten down as in like laid out for you, like beaten down with footprints is like what I'm trying to say. Aha! Footprints! The one that has not been laid out for you with people who have come before you stomping down the grass or whatever. It might lead, obviously it's going to lead to the unknown, but if you can zoom out and look at the big picture perspective and be able to see like that confirmation, like, no, it leads somewhere really cool. Like there's an overlook over there. It leads to a beach, like an oasis, whatever. It's like, look at it from a big picture perspective of like, you can see the trajectory that you're moving in your life. And if you kind of get this feeling of like, you know, if you continue in one direction, you're not going to be happy. And if you switch and go in this other direction, it's going to be like, you know, unfamiliar, uncomfortable, whatever. But there's all these possibilities, and that can help you kind of be able to take steps forward despite the fear, because you can see all the potential and all the open space, and that like each step leads to something else. Like that's the other thing. When you look at a map or you're in a plane or whatever, you're envisioning the terrain below. Sorry, I just got very distracted by something on one of these cards. It's like the true north symbol on the card here. I lost my train of thought, but that feels significant for some reason. Oh my God, I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So if you're looking at a map or your topographical view, whatever it is, you will be able to see that there are things that lead, like it's not empty space that you're looking at. It's not like it's void of map information. I don't know how to word this. It's like, this is a silly reference, but like there's a few different computer games where you like expand over terrain and there's like fog covering it and you can't see. Well, that's actually true about life, right? Like you can't see until you explore it, right? But like if you're looking down from a plane or you're looking at a map or whatever, you can look beyond where you have trailed and see that there are things after that. Like each step will lead to something. Like it's not just empty space. I don't know if I'm explaining what I'm envisioning well, but like it makes sense to me. I hope it makes sense to you, that you can rest assured that there are other things coming, right? It's not like it's going to be unknown forever. It's not like it's just going to be a deserted desert with nothing. There are going to be new experiences and new positive things that you will get out of taking this path. And the reason I love the fact that these two cards came out together, the other card is the Sun card. Speaking of the sun, it's just like encroaching on this video. Maybe that's a good thing, because the Sun card is joy, vibrance, warmth, fun, and good days ahead. So to me, this feels like an encouraging note of like, take the path less traveled that's guided by your true north. And rest assured that there will be things that will, like each dot will connect going forward. I keep getting the Steve Jobs quote that's like, you can't connect the dots going forward, but looking back, you will, something, I'm butchering it, that like all the dots connect in the past. Like it makes sense looking back. So trust yourself, like trust the fact that like, if you look back now, maybe you can see how all the dots have connected in your life. Maybe there's a previous time in your life where you did decide to take a different route and make a bold move, and you weren't sure how it was going to pan out, but then like one thing leads to this thing, leads to that thing, and then it kind of all worked out maybe. If you have had that experience, like keep that in mind at this moment in time, and just trust that like you wouldn't be guided towards a new path that you feel really excited about, even if it's scary, if it wasn't like something that your soul is deeply craving that will lead you to your happiness. Like why, even if it doesn't look exactly how you're picturing it or doesn't happen the way you thought it would, or you experience new challenges or whatever, like why would your inner guidance be pushing you towards a path that wouldn't be in alignment with what would make you happier or healthier or more satisfied or fulfilled with life? Like there would be no point in the nudge towards something if it wasn't in alignment with your happiness. Again, like it's not a guarantee that everything's going to be like sunshine and rainbows. There might be hard work along the way, or new things or new lessons or whatever. But like, I hope you get what I mean. Like you're never going to be guided towards something that you really don't have any interest in, right? Like your inner being is not going to go like make moves towards this thing if there wasn't a deep calling of that resonating with what would make you the happiest and the most fulfilled out of life. So this is a card out of left field, I feel like, which is the book card. Education, education, learn, gather more information. Okay, so what I'm kind of feeling right now, looking at all the cards that I've already put out here, is that is a complete reading. And then this card, because I was tempted to kind of end the reading, and then for whatever reason I kept shuffling and this card came out. And it's kind of like, feels like it's separated from this a little bit. So what I'm getting is that for some of you, this will resonate, and for some of you, this is not needed. But that if whatever it is that you're taking a step towards, that you're feeling guided to pursue, is, out of your comfort zone, comes with risk, is completely open, unknown, that what would actually help you feel more confident stepping forward into this path is if you prepare on an educational level. Like if there's something that you're trying to pursue, that you're like, I really want to do this, but I'm feeling scared, and I'm feeling scared for maybe a legitimate reason because I don't feel like I've gathered enough information first, or I want to learn this new skill. Like, don't let that stop you necessarily. Like I'm getting like, okay, wait, don't make them like not want to pursue it. Like, it's not that you shouldn't pursue it before you gather the education or the information, but it's like, it's okay to feel like you want to be gaining new skills and resources and information and education while in pursuit of this thing to give you more confidence. And that's a good thing. Like, if you have that urge to also be learning new things while you're trudging forward into this unknown path. You know, like, just take this very literally and metaphorically. Like, literal, we're going to do something literal within the metaphor, which is like, if the metaphor is you're going to be like charging forth into the woods, into the unknown, but you have no survival skills, let's say, like, which is the literal aspect of this metaphor, which is like, if you feel called to like get out of the car on the nice paved road and just like head into the wilderness, but you have no idea how to navigate the wilderness, like, it might be a good idea to, like, you know, maybe learn some wilderness skills before you dive in there, or to at least be like learning those skills, like actively seeking out more ways to educate and gather those skills while you take steps through this new journey. Okay, I hope all of this has made sense. It makes sense in my mind, and the biggest challenge of this, honestly, doing these readings is trying to translate to you the images and the feelings I get when I'm channeling and coming up with these insights to share with you. So I hope it's made sense. If you're interested in the card deck, you can buy it. I have got a link. I'll put the links places for you. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this reading. I hope you found it helpful. And the sun says hi. See you later.